I'm going to make a bold statement here. You're probably online a little more than you should be. And I'm not so high and mighty, I can admit that the same goes for me. But I stopped doing one thing in the morning and was shocked by how much my art improved. My morning routine as of a few weeks ago was as such. I woke up, I got dressed, I grabbed my phone, and then I went downstairs to eat. I picked a video and immediately started watching it once my coffee was on the stove. Fast forward a bit, I had eaten, and I continued to watch whatever was on my For You page until I had to get dressed and actually start the day. But I didn't want to start the day. I just wanted to finish whatever I was watching. So I did. And the next thing I knew, it was 11 a.m. and I had pretty much done nothing in the 3 hours I had been awake. So I got rid of it. I started charging my phone in a different room and instead bringing a book with me down to read while I ate. Now, you may be asking, wait, I thought you said it would make you a better artist, not a better reader. And yes, it may seem backwards, but I didn't actually start drawing any more than I had been. But the fact that I wasn't just watching YouTube in the mornings made my brain actually want to commit my thinking powers to drawing later on. For this section, please note that I'm not a doctor or a brain scientist. This is merely my understanding of this topic, and it's definitely, what is that saying, like half-baked? Not half-baked, but a little bit simplified. I linked the sources that I used in this video in the description, and if you want a more in-depth video, the Newell of Knowledge YouTube channel has a video called How to Make Doing Hard Things Easier Than Scrolling YouTube, which was a big inspiration for this video and for me stopping watching YouTube in the mornings. So I highly recommend that video. I'll link it down below. The moments right after you wake up are one of the more important of the day. It sets the bar, if you will. Northwestern Medicine says, when you're engaged in an activity you enjoy, your brain produces dopamine, a chemical that promotes feelings of pleasure, excitement, and happiness. The release of dopamine helps us feel good, and it results in a high similar to that induced by drugs and other substances with addictive qualities. Your brain craves more and more, and as long as you continue to binge, your brain produces dopamine. It's also worth noting that your brain can only produce a certain amount of dopamine each day, so using up that dopamine early results in a crash of dopamine later in order to bring you back to that baseline level. YouTube is something I definitely enjoy, but doing something like watching YouTube early in the morning was setting up the rest of my day to be less fun, because nothing will be exciting as that video that I watched that morning. It's like eating cake for breakfast. I could make my favorite lunch later, and it still wouldn't be as good as that cake that I had. And even if you do stop watching after just one video, or when you're done eating, the damage has been done. Your dopamine receptors have been fed very well, and it's only 8 in the morning. Whatever work you have to do after that will land in that crash section of that cycle. And I'm sure all of this is very thrilling to you, as it is to me, but how does this make you a better artist? Aside from the mental focus that I've gotten, I have been able to consume content that's steered me in new directions. I took a lot of inspiration from YouTube, or at least the things I found on YouTube. I really like watching video games and like lore, D&D campaigns and other things, but now that I'm doing other things in the morning, it's really opened me up to a lot of new inspiration and content. I'm right now reading Frankenstein, and while I'm reading it, I'm picturing all sorts of concept work and how I would illustrate the monster and Frankenstein and his hometown. And I've learned a lot about what I'm actually interested in and not just what the algorithm pushes to me. And I do still watch probably more YouTube than I should, but I have just watched it more in the evening. No, I watched it in the evening already, but now I have just really only watched it later on in the day. And I do still watch YouTube during breakfast on occasion, but I do notice that my days are a lot less motivated than when I switch it with something. And speaking of something, very sly transition there, here are a few ideas if you're like, I don't even know what to do in the morning if I'm not watching YouTube. So here's a few ideas. Reading, of course, is the one that I've mostly swapped to, and I was not a big reader until a few months ago. I started out with something quite simple, and if you feel like you're not a big reader either, it's definitely intimidating, but the way that I broke out of it is I started with comic books, which are really easy to read. They're super fun to read too. but it's still reading. So even if you start with something like that, and then I moved on to, I read Poe's short stories. So I read The Murder in the Rue Morgue and what was the other one? Oh, The Mystery of Marie Rogette, which are both really good short stories. But by swapping my phone time with reading, I ended up reading the same amount of books in July alone that I did January through June of this year, which is just crazy, like absolutely insane. A second idea, if you still want to be on your phone, or if you just want to kind of ease more out of the habit of YouTube specifically, do something boring on your phone. Now, I don't find these things super boring, but like organize your Spotify, plan your calendar, or cleaning out your photos. That's something that I really like to do. Cleaning out photos and videos is very fun, but just do something slightly more boring. Even honestly, delete YouTube off your phone, and that alone will help a ton. And then lastly, if you don't want to be doing something with your hands, this is my go-to if I don't want to like fiddle with a book while I'm trying to eat. Listen to a podcast. There's so many out there, and there has to be one that you'll like. I promise you. It might take some searching, but you'll find one you like. My go-tos are The White Vault, which is a really sick drama. It's like a dramatized horror story podcast. It's so fun. So also you don't have to listen to like two people at a chair with a mic, you know? There's tons of like story-based podcasts as well. So that one's really fun. That's by, I'll link it down below. I don't remember who it's by, and then Draftsmen by Stan Prokopenko and Marshall Vandruff, he's the guy from Proko, our YouTube channel. And then Ologies with Alie are super good. So I encourage you to unplug your mornings. And I'm not saying don't ever watch YouTube again. That would be complete bull coming from me. But just try to do something a bit less entertaining in the morning and see where it takes the rest of your day. So again, I'm not a doctor, but take this all with a grain of salt. Bye! Okay, and speaking on books, I actually just went to the library, so I'll give you a little book haul. This is what I'm going to be reading now. So I already said I'm reading Frankenstein, which this is my mom's copy, but reading this, I'm about halfway through. Absolutely superb. I had only seen the movie, which after reading this, that movie should not have been called Frankenstein. Anyway, hot take. Then I got a book on bestiaries, which looks super cool. It has like bunch of stuff on different beasts, which I also think this will be a great reference for drawing, just learning more about that. Batman, The Cowardly Lot, and a Mike Mignola. This is called Baltimore, A Passing Stranger. And then I got this massive book, Aliens, Defiance, which I've never seen any of the Aliens movies, but this looks very good. This is a chunky one, but it's also a graphic novel, so very good looking. And this is by, oh my gosh, too many people. I'm not even gonna try and say all their names. So some book recommendations. Also, your public library is the spot to go. If you're also like, I have no money to spend $14 on a new book, go to the library. It's wonderful, truly.